and welcome back to the Sideline Eye podcast. You're welcome to our review show, and we're looking back at the weekend of the semi-finals in the intermediate and the senior championship. I'm joined by Mark Beattie, and we're going to look back at all four games, starting with the senior championship. And the first game, obviously, is Clans against Clann Éireann. Mark, I'm glad you've joined me. I texted you this morning. I wasn't sure if you were in the mood or not, but a tough one to take for Clann Éireann. There's no doubt about it. 8-6 up midway through the 8-2 up. Sorry, midway through the second half. There's a red card, turns the game. Soupy Campbell comes into zone. There's so many talking points from it. But I suppose just to start with, it's a heartbreaking loss for Clann Éireann.
It is, Sean. Yeah. There's no point as denying it was a game we totally believed we were going to win. We expected to win. The guys, just be speaking to everybody. It was even around the county. I think a lot of teams were expecting the Clans to really put it up to Clann Éireann, but at the end, maybe Clann Éireann coming away with a victory. But just like a lot of games this year, the Clans have proved so many people wrong. Again, with it being the local derby, there was so much riding on it. It becomes really hard to take. There's no question about that. There's no point telling any lies. And as we're 8-2 up, we looked like we were cruising. It looked like we were in a really good place. And to be honest, I was in co-commentary, and I was saying that if the Clans don't get a score, if they don't get something here to sort of stop the tide, then Clann Éireann could maybe run away with this. And naturally they got a score after the sending off, and just after that, then it was the Stephen Campbell show. He just completely took over, and what a performance! What a 10 or 15 minutes that man put in. It has to be the performance of the championship. And they've been looking to Shane McPartland the whole way through the championship. He had been awesome for them. Stephen was chipping in, playing rightly, but he just took over. He just absolutely took over that game, and with no answer when we went down to the 14 men. But yeah, it was it's definitely a hard one to take. There's no question about it.
And the game as a whole, Mark, obviously second half was so exciting because Clans were coming back extra time. It was so tight. But even I really enjoyed the first half, even because you just had that tension, the intensity of it. There wasn't many scores. I think it was 4-2 at half time. But the intensity of it all, it was just one of them derby days that was just so exciting throughout, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it got a lot of hype. The game got a lot of hype, a lot of build up to the game. It was a long time since both teams had been really challenging to win a senior championship. So all that was coming with it. Big performances by Clann Éireann the whole way through. They were just getting better and better every match. Clann Éireann were going along very consistent, just playing really well. So this was a perfect match, and it lived up to it. And I know some people will look at the first half and say it was 4-2, but you're 100% right. The commitment, the drive, the hits that were going in, the off the ball stuff, that just everything that goes with a derby game, and it really lived up to all the hype. The second half just turned into a completely altogether different match. It was just end to end, 15 minutes. Clann Éireann were in complete control, sent off, and then Clann Éireann, they took complete control, and just it was a fantastic match. It was if you were a neutral. You really, and I was speaking to a lot of neutrals, and they were at the game watching it on the TV, and they all said it was a fantastic match, probably game of the championship. So yeah, it lived up to everything that everyone was speaking about. But from the Clann Éireann perspective, it was very disappointing that we didn't come through at the end.
And that, the big turning point, we've mentioned it a couple of times, there was the red card. It was 8-2 at that stage. A second yellow card for Ryan Meehan, an off the ball challenge. An off-ball tangle, I think, but it was a big turning point, and I suppose another talking point was the referee as well, Mark. And on this show we don't normally talk about referees, but I've been getting so many messages and everything coming through it. We'll have to discuss it, I suppose. The red card was the big turning point, and the referee, it's fair to say, let the game go throughout the whatever 80 minutes.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about that. Ryan Meehan's a guy, red card, very seldom ever picks up a yellow card, never mind, 2 yellow cards. It was just one of those games. He came in with a high tackle with the first yellow. It's 100% a yellow card. No doubt about that. The second one was a bit of a tangle with Oisin O'Neill. The referee seen, I think at the end, Ryan maybe pulling them down or whatever it was, but I think both of them were sort of at it. And he got the second yellow card, just maybe deservedly so. But apart from that, Kevin Falloon, we knew going into the game, Clann Éireann knew, the players knew, the Clann Éireann was the same, that he does let things go. He seems to forget that he's a whistle in his pocket at times. But on a Clann Éireann, again, on a Clann Éireann side of things, you would have to look at some of the decisions. Ryan Connor Turbot, he got on a bit of ball, and there's a lot of tackles went in where we would be thinking they were definite fouls. He never gave them. What I will give him is he was consistent with it, where he did constantly, in the Clann Gaels would be thinking the same. There was a couple of decisions. Stephen Campbell, the game was at 8-7, I think. And I thought it was a definite foul for the Clans. And that would have brought the 8-all. And he constantly let that happen. And so many people have been saying to me, from since the game, about some of this, how did he let some of them go? And I'm sure if Kevin looked back at some of the decisions himself, he would probably be thinking he should have blew for freeze. And there was no doubt there was some harsh decisions there. And as I spoke to, as a forward, when you do all the work and you win that ball and you go to take on your man, and you're just about to maybe unleash one for a shot and you get pulled down, or it's so disheartening. It's so disheartening that you don't get the foul. When you've done all the work, done all the hard, especially in a game like the other night, the intensity of that match, and for you to win any ball was crucial. It was just, if you weren't on it, there was a Clansman or a Clann Éireann defender, the hand was in, the fist got in, got the ball away. So it was crucial when you won the ball and you got your opportunity to take a shot, and if you were fouled, give the forward the foul. We all enjoy the game being played and referee not blowing the whistle too much, but if there's a foul, it's a foul. And that would be my sort of issue with Kevin Falloon the other night.
Yeah, I haven't really delved a lot more. I think you're spot on. You've summed that up pretty well, and mentioned a couple of the key incidents that I think were big talking points from the game, the likes of the terrible foul in the first half, Campbell's in the second half, and he did give a Clann Éireann penalty, of course, in extra time, and this was Clann Éireann were comfortable, or Clann Gael looked comfortable at this stage, Mark, and the goal just brought Clann Éireann right back into this game. I think there was 4 in it at that stage. The excitement and everything, we keep mentioning the excitement and the drama and everything, but it gave Clann Éireann a real boost, that goal. But then Clann Gael come up and Soupy Campbell scores his 10th point, and that's pretty much the game. And Soupy Campbell's he's the main talking point coming out of the game. His performance, the way he stepped up, scored 10 of the 14 points that period where it was 8-2. He scored 5 in a row to bring Clann Gael back into it. So I suppose Soupy, he deserves massive credit for the performance he put in.
Yeah, no, there's no question on that there. Just on before that there, when the Clans went 4 up, Shane McPartlin, I think it was Cam O'Neill, scored 2 great points, and one of McPartlin actually maybe it could have been goal for him. At that stage, I personally thought it was gone for Clann Éireann. We were playing with Sean McCarthy, had been black carded at that stage, so McPartlin started to come into his own away. He started to perform a bit then at that stage as well. So the leaders in the Clans started to sort of take control of it. And then the penalty gave us a sort of new lease of life, gave us that opportunity. I thought, here we go, maybe we'll get a draw or something out of it. But the momentum from the sent off right through was with the Clans, and that momentum was all down to Stephen Campbell. He just led the Clans the victory. There was no question about it. And a bit like Shane McPartlin in the other games, once he got going, you could see the rest of the Clann Gael players rising. Every one of them. Cal O'Neill started, but I have to point out that Emma McGee had an absolute storm of a game against Cal O'Neill. It was a real brilliant battle between the two of them. Two of them be very similar in age, and it might be a year or so older, but them two would know each other, and that I thought that was a fantastic battle. But the rest of the players in round the Clans, fellas who were maybe sort of 6 out of 10 at that stage, were performing okay. All of a sudden, they rose to 8 or 9 out of 10. These players just came in behind Stephen, and there was one stage in the second half, and it was about 5 minutes or so after the sent off, and it was actually Stephen had made a run into the top right hand corner, and it was a Clann Éireann, I think it was Micheál O'Shea had the ball, and the Clans was 5 or 6 of them, and you could just see them all that hunting the Clann Éireann man down. The ball was got away, and then the next thing it was maybe 8 on to the next Clann Éireann player. It just and that was all down to staffing. You know, all you can talk about the scores, you can talk about the frees he kicked, points from play, 10 scores, unbelievable. But it was his effort too that he was up and down the field, getting on ball and spreading the passes about. And you know that was to me how the leadership he showed and the drive and the will to get over the line, and also the fact that he just would love to beat Clann Éireann. He doesn't seem to he doesn't seem to like us that much, so he seems to always perform against us as well. So yeah, and a lot of credit to Stefan. He was fantastic.
Yeah, he was the leader, and that's the end of the 17-year wait to make it into the county final. That was 2006 was the last time they were there. Cross beat them in the final, and it's Cross again this year. They beat Madden on Sunday, and Cross just done what Cross do, Mark. It was a tight game, point for point, and it ends up with 6-point winners in a game that was literally point for point throughout.
Yeah, it was, and I was sitting when I was watching it. I was thinking, Madden just need to, be a bit more courageous. Just drive a few balls into the square. Put Niall Brimley in there and drive a few in them. Try something a bit different, just to try and get that 3-4 point lead. Because they got 1 point, 2 point lead, but Cross just every time you thought when Madden had a lot of possession. They got ahead. You were thinking, get the next score, but the next score nearly every single time was Cross. And but it didn't look like the Cross was the team that was going to kick on. They were just hanging in, and then they do what they do. 5-10 minutes to go. You're thinking, what way is this game going to go? And I'm sure the Madden people's walking out of the ground. How will we beat by 6 points? Because it was such a close game. But I just thought Madden needed to go at them a wee bit more. They needed to be braver than. After the big win, the quarterfinal, it was real hard to get over that. They couldn't get over quarterfinals and stuff like that. It should have been in the pressure. They should have just been playing with real courage, and be braver and stuff. But it just didn't seem to. It seemed like there was something on their backs that they were just holding back slightly. Did they really believe they were going to beat Crossmaglen? That was my point going into the game, and I said it to Paddy Grimley in the commentary after the game. I said, if Madden really believe here, I think they can go and beat Cross. And I have to ask myself, did they really believe? Because I don't think by watching them that they didn't. Yes, they're easily good enough, and to show that how good they are and that they can really compete with any team in Armagh. But if Crossmaglen were in Madden's shoes, as we've seen what happened, they go on, they win the game by 6 points. That when it really comes to that crunch, they know how to get over the line.
I suppose in them last couple of minutes, Mark, Cross were maybe 2 or 3 up on Madden. Were just hanging in there. They needed a goal just to confirm that they were still in contention. But Cross got the goal, and what a goal it was. Paul Hughes, beautiful ball across with the outside of his left boot. Cian McConville, like one of the best finishes you'll see from Cian McConville, who just coming back into form at the right time.
Yeah, and Cian had been fairly quiet, I thought, for a lot of the game, but that's the sign of a fantastic footballer, And as you said, what a pass by Hughes. He turned his man and then he went, and what a finish. It was fantastic, just from a brilliant player. But that's why you have to be on Cian McConville for 60 minutes and not think you've got him for 50 minutes or 52 minutes. You need to be on him the whole time, because one snip and he's in there and it's going, and he proved that. Fantastic goal, fantastic finish. And again, it just shows how ruthless they are. People talk about the Cross aren't the same, that they're not as good as they used to be, and they're not as good as they used to be, because you're talking about one of the best ever teams. So to live up to that there is really difficult. But in saying that, there is a ruthless stick in Crossmaglen that just is never going to leave them. It's in their blood, and it's something that Madden just wish they had half of it, even, because I think if they did, they would have had enough talent to get themselves over the line. But no, when Cross get that stage, you come down the line with them. Well, 5-10 minutes to go, and it's nip and tuck. Your money's nearly always in Cross, just to somehow find a way of winning, and they seem to do it all the time.
And we spoke about Stephen Campbell being the star of the show on Saturday night. Sunday, it was about Oisin O'Neill, who obviously missed out a couple of years with Cross and Armagh as well. but he just came to the fore when it was evenly matched, whatever, 13 each, 14 each. He just rose to the occasion and he kicked 5 points in all from midfield. He was the star of the show on Sunday, wasn't he, Mark?
He was, and I think I think he's had a real brilliant championship. Right from the first game against the Clans. I know he was only back a few weeks at that stage, but he's just grew in every game he's played. Against the Harks in the quarter final, I thought he was unbelievable as well. But again, yesterday, you were looking at Niall Grimley, thinking maybe he maybe come in around the middle and maybe control this match, but it happened to be again one of the O'Neills is either Éireann or Oisin, and Éireann maybe had a bit of a quieter game than you would expect. Still played reasonably well, but it was Oisin who stood up, and he's a massive leader for Crossmaglen, and he proved it again yesterday. And there's a couple of real good scores, and it was a couple of scores that the one straight from the kick out, and just one sort of quick pass, and the next thing back to Oisin and over the bar. And it was every time it seemed to be when Madden maybe got that point ahead, it seemed to come out, and Oisin, that was the time when he said to himself, "No, we need to score. We can't let this." And that's real leadership, and it's also it's a sign of a really brilliant football that you're able to do it. You can think we need to get this score, but it's about going and doing it, and that's what he done. He went, he won the ball when it needed to be won in the middle, and he got on the end of scores as well. Fantastic performance from a fantastic player.
I think Madden, they're going to be kicking themselves, Mark, because of the chances they missed throughout the game. And I think the Irish News reported this morning they'd missed they had 4 wides in the first 7 minutes or something, and a couple of just maybe nervous shots and wrong shot selections and stuff. But I'm not sure what their wide count was, but they missed too many chances. If you're going to beat Cross, we discussed it on our preview show that Cross were going to score at least 16, 17 points. They ended up scoring 20. You need to take every chance you get, don't you?
I think that's the biggest thing. I don't know how many wides they had. I know they had plenty, but the key when you're playing Cross is them first 5 or 10 minutes. That you're going out to set a marker down, and Madden didn't do it, and that's what from the outset watching the game, I was looking at it thinking, this is showing so much nerves, and for Cross can live off that there. They can near sense that this team, wouldn't say they're afraid or anything like that. I would just say, do they really believe? And that a lot of that can come down to that there. Do these players really believe they can beat Crossmaglen? And that looked like that there. They were nervous sort of shots, shooting when they maybe should have passed. Just real silly errors that you can't afford to do against Crossmaglen, because if you let Crossmaglen stay in the game, inevitably what's going to happen is what happened. You get the last 5 or 10 minutes and then they just steamroll you, and because there's that much fight and hunger in them. But Madden really should have, that's the early stage of that game, should have been 4 or 5 points ahead, and driving that on, and that would have given them so much confidence as well. It would have given them the belief that they can go on and win it. But round the field, then there's doubt sets in. Can we really do this? And to me, that's the way Madden played yesterday. I just feel that there was doubt in certain players, and I'd have to question how much they really believed that they could beat Crossmaglen. And and that to me proved the point. And when Cross got into that final 10 minutes, then they showed their belief, because they do believe they're going to win.
I suppose looking forward to the final, we're not going to start previewing it or anything. With 2 weeks to do that, Mark. But Clans, they certainly won't fear Crossmaglen, having drawn with them earlier on in the championship. The belief they'll get now from getting back to the county final, historically, they're a team that are a match for Crossmaglen. So this is going to be a final that we can really look forward to.
I think so. I think it'll be a cracker. Also, when you say about believing, if there's one club in Armagh that will believe that they're going to win, it's Clann Éireann. And that's something that I'll always have, give them, that they if a team, whether you be Clann Éireann or you be Madden or you be whoever, you can come along to these games and you think you're going to win, and sometimes you don't get over the line. Clann Éireann in years gone by, when they get a team and they get a sniff at something, they go and do it, and you have to hold your hands up to that there. And this is the perfect occasion again. Slightly different in 2006. I think Crossmaglen were just that bit ahead of everybody at that stage. I know Clann Éireann had some, your Morrisons and stuff playing then, and a fantastic team at that stage. But still Cross was a wee bit further ahead than most teams in Ireland, never mind Armagh. So, but this is different. This is completely different. Where Clann Éireann are coming here every single match, they have got better and better and better. And even the Drummond game when they didn't play so well, they still dug in and they got the result. And then the big performance against Killeavy, massive performance against us. But the big game is that game down in David Park, where they got the draw. They played reasonably well, but the fact is they have got better and better in every match. And they're only getting more and more confident. And just the fact that they beat Clann Éireann, like Clann Éireann, I know I blew Clann Éireann up and then really I expected them to win the senior championship. But there's no question. A lot of people around the county, clansmen, all had a fair belief that from the outset that Clann Éireann was probably the team to beat in the championship. Clann Éireann certainly wouldn't have been fearing Crossmaglen, so there's no reason why Clann Éireann is going to fail them. And if you get performances like Staffan give on Saturday night, and you get another, Shane McPartland had a quieter game on Saturday night. But if he can get that form back, there's no question that they're going to be right on this. This is going to be one hell of a game.
Yes, definitely. We're going to look forward to it and be a big 2 week build up to it as well. That we'll be covering. And with an intermediate final too, Mark, we know who's in it now. It's probably the expected final. Is Killeavy against St Paul's. Two best teams heading into, I felt anyway, heading into the semi-finals. But two real tests, particularly the Cady and St Paul's game, which we'll come to, was probably the game of the weekend. And I suppose to start with, Killeavy maybe got a bigger test than certainly I was expecting. They looked like they were going to pull away with in the first half, but Anto Duffy got a cracker of a goal just before half time, brought the Oaks back into it. And a bit like we were saying about Madden, the Oaks have been kicking themselves because they had a couple of really good goal chances in the second half that they didn't take. And because of that, Killeavy they were fit to keep them sort of at arm's length for the remainder of the game and then ran out 5-point winners.
Yeah, they sort of had that 2 or 3 point lead, and Killeavy, we've talked about this throughout the whole way through the championship, by teams not getting tested and stuff like that there. And Killeavy probably hadn't been tested until this game, but they knew that they were going to get a massive test here against Pearse Oaks. Traditionally, the two sort of senior teams. So the Oaks had no probably fear really. They knew that Killeavy was a real strong team, but they wouldn't have been going in with any fear, and they would have had belief for your Anto Duffys, your Paul Duffys, these fellas, Vinny Brady and stuff. They're real good, especially at intermediate level, a very strong team. So there was no question the Oaks were going to give them that sort of tough game that they needed. And to be fair to Killeavy, they came through it, and they'll be glad of that game. They'll be glad of getting that tough game against the Oaks, because I think if they would have been going into the final with another sort of easy enough victory, they really would have been struggling against a strong St Paul's team. But the big players stood up for Killeavy, and that's massive. The boys have come back from the county, and the early stages maybe were playing reasonably well, doing what they had to do. But when it came to the crunch on Saturday, they stood up and gave big performances.
And that's the big thing, and obviously, it's no coincidence that the county players are the best club players. We've mentioned Soupy, Oisin O'Neill, but Aidan Nugent, Jason Duffy, and Ross McQuillan probably were the difference on Saturday evening. I think McQuillan, he got the goal in the first half. Duffy got 3 points, and Nugent got 6. So at intermediate level, when you have 3 county players like that, and then a load of good club players as well, like we've spoke about them all year. Tony Donnelly, Sean O'Gorwin, Sean Connell, Mickey Murray come off the bench. I think that was his first bit of championship action. Paige Casey around the middle. Like Killeavy, they're really strong outfit just throughout the team, aren't they?
Yeah, no, I'm not going to start saying that they're going to win the championship, but they sound like a team. Also, like very rarely in Armagh, we get teams that go into the intermediate and Ulster or anything where you think there's a real chance. But with them type of players, in your team and in your squad, that's something that further down the line, I know they'll not be thinking about that at the moment, but just looking from the outside, you're looking at a team that could really challenge. When you name all them players, that's to me as a senior, that's a senior outfit, and I was talking to Shane McKeever, who'd be part of the Clann management team, and from the county players coming back, he had said to me about Aidan Nugent especially, the work that he puts in. He's there half an hour before training, half an hour after training, and all the other players just feed off that. He is a complete leader, a real leader of no coincidence that he was joint captain of Armagh as well. So he's leading the line with him, and a bit like Oisin, a bit like Stefan, the rest of these fellas are rowing in behind him. And that's all credit to Clann, and they're going to be a very hard nut to crack in the final.
And it's St Paul's that have the mission of doing that, Mark. They just about got through Katie, and it was, what a game it was. I think there was 5 goals scored in the first 20 minutes. It was just literally, we talk about games end to end. This was end to end goal scored. And Andrew Murnan, obviously speaking about county men, he was the standout here. Scored 3 goals, 3 legitimate goals, and a fourth that was ruled out with a square ball. But obviously the goals is what catches the headlines, but he come out the field then in the second half, played in around the middle of the field, catching kickouts, putting in big tackles. He was just outstanding, and he was the difference between the two teams, really.
Every time we talk about St Paul's, and every time we talk about them winning matches, you talk about Andy Murnan scoring, but then you talk about him, the amount of ball he wins in the middle, then you talk about him making a block on the 21-yard line. The man, he's superhuman. Like, he is absolutely, and again, no coincidence that he's maybe potentially getting, he's up for an all-star. When he's on form and he's fully fit, I personally rate him as probably the best player in the county. He is absolutely fantastic. And the goal that was disallowed, I'm struggling to wonder, how that was disallowed, because I think he jumped from about the 21 and landed in the square. So he did, he was just sailed through the air and driven into the back of the net. And then the soccer style goal that he scored, he just possesses everything. And again, at intermediate level, a player like this is just so valuable, And again, the rest of the players, then we've already spoke about in every team, how the rest of the players respond. And there's every club, what we spoke about so far, there's no club responds better than St Paul's, Andy Murnan. He is just, to have that man involved in a team at that level is just brilliant. And even the training, going down and fellas trying to mark him, I'm sure they maybe have to put 2 or 3 on him in training, but just getting that experience of marking that man. How do you mark him? And I know, again, a bit like Aidan Nugent, when he's at training, he's a serious trainer as well. He puts absolutely everything in, and he does everything for St Paul's. And I know that the Clann have 3 county players, but Andy Murnan's basically like 3 county players. He is that good. So yeah, fair play again to St Paul. But what a game! And all the credit to Katie. You have to put a shout out to Katie as well. Like, they drove on in that game. Some of the fighting that they had around the midfield, some of the scores that they had. I was well impressed by Katie. I actually thought St Paul's won the game a bit easier, But I was well impressed by Katie, and they're bound to be gutted as well, because that was one hell of a match.
I was the same as that, Mark. I sort of said that in our preview show last week, that I didn't really know a whole pile about Katie. I hadn't seen them this year. I'd seen the scores that they were putting up. Obviously, James O'Hara had been the main man throughout the championship. But Tomas Galvin nowadays stood up. I'm not sure what he scored, 1-3 or 1-4 maybe. Set up the first goal as well. And Owen Fullerton played really well. James King in around the middle of the field. Like, Katie, they're a real solid team. And Simon McGarry has done serious work with them. And I suppose the big thing for Katie is the 1 Division 2B. It's gone up into that top level now at intermediate, gone into 2A, keeping all their players together. Like, they seem a fairly young outfit, and just trying to push on now, and they'll be a big contender next year if they can keep everybody fit.
Yeah, well, that's key. That's key, moving from 2B to 2A and playing the best teams in the intermediate level week in, week out. I thought King, I've always rated him as a really good player. I thought the work rate that he showed the other day, he was the leader really for Katie, and he really took the game to St. Paul's, won some serious ball in around the middle. He was just sort of everywhere, and them players, they deserve, a lot of their players out there that soldier all the time and sometimes don't get the reward. But yeah, if Katie can stick at it, and Simon McGeary's a brilliant man in there, leading them and improving them, and if they can stick at it and stick together for another year, Katie's is a massive club, but they've Nasty got the pull from the hurling, and so much going on in around the club that sometimes it's hard to keep them all dedicated to one sport, and that would be key to them. It's just making sure that team stays together, to get back at it. They know how close they are. They know how close they are to really doing something at that level, and why would they not think that come back next year and go one step further?
So yeah, we've two massive finals to look forward to. They both take place on October 22nd. I'm just not sure of the times. I think the times have been released, but I don't have them off the top of my head. So two big games to look forward to in the coming weeks. The junior final is on this weekend as well. It's on Saturday evening, so we'll be back with a preview show for that maybe on Thursday, and interviews, previews, and all the rest that we usually have in the build up to these games. Big shout out to Capture Athletic for coming on board as our main sponsor for the duration of the championship, and a big thank you to you too, Mark, for coming on and discussing the semi-finals.
No problem, Sean. Thank you.